probably like, Angelina, how the fuck do I do that? Starting from zero is a lot better than having whatever that is. To the bottom of my core, if I can tell you one thing, is it, let's be real, no one teaches you how to actually enjoy your teen years. You're either overwhelmed, insecure, or feel like you're constantly behind. Here are the mindset shifts and habits I wish someone would have told me, the ones that could actually change your life if you let them. So let's talk about how to stop surviving your teen years and actually start living them. First things first, I'm sorry to say, but we gotta stop feeling sorry for ourselves, because what we're not changing, we're choosing. The feeling of being out of control, I feel like, is something that so many people struggle with. It's so easy to complain about so many things. I hate my school, I hate my friends, I'm so unlucky, but what are we actually in control over, and what can we actually change to make improvements on our life? For example, if it's things with friends. Most of my high school years, I was constantly saying, I have no friends. My friends are so bad. I wish I had a friend group. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. But I actively made no effort to meet new people at my school, meet new people out of school. I thought it was normal to hibernate in my house 7 days a week, every single hour of the day. And I really thought that doing that was gonna make me have the friends that I wanted. Obviously doing that, I'm not meeting people. I'm not making new friends. I'm not putting myself in any kind of situation to change what I wanted to change. It's literally so easy to complain about all aspects of life, but we need to put some things into perspective and understand that we're in control of our own futures and what we want for ourselves. I get it. It's hard. A lot of times pain and discomfort can become so familiar to the point where it becomes almost uncomfortable to have what's better. Feeling sorry for ourselves is almost justification for acting the way that we do, but no one wants to live in misery their entire life. A lot of times people make excuses, or we hear similar stories, so we go, oh, that's just the way life is. My experience, my bad situation, that's just the way life is. And it's almost incomprehensible to understand that no, change is not necessarily easy, and sometimes it's not always fully possible. Change doesn't have to be this huge monumental thing. It can be small little decisions that you start doing in your everyday life, where you just start not accepting life to suck. There's obviously going to be difficult times in life. Unfortunately, that's just inevitable. It's just all to say that even small new choices can shift your entire life's direction. And you don't want to wait until you're 25 to realize that you could have started sooner, that you could have had all these experiences when you were younger. The next is to protect your peace and become more confident. I know that's so broad. You're probably like, Angelina, how the fuck do I do that? I obviously want to be more confident, but what does that even mean? And I get you. Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about being the most popular person in the room. It's about genuinely choosing yourself. And sometimes you just need to be selfish. That means cutting off people who drain your energy. What does this mean? After you hang out with anyone in your life, have you ever realized that sometimes you come home after an interaction and go, oh my god, I'm so tired. Like, this was just almost not fun because I felt like my brain was always on. I always had to be this version of myself that's just not necessarily genuine, or they were just so negative that it started to make me feel bad. Cutting off people like this does not mean dropping them and making a whole scene. It just means realizing that this person's values are different than yours, or that you guys just don't necessarily connect. It doesn't even need to be because the person's a bad person. And focusing more on the friendships and relationships that actually make you feel good about yourself, don't make you feel drained, don't make you feel exhausted after you hang out, where you feel like you're your most genuine self. But it also means setting boundaries without guilt and trusting your gut even if it's unpopular. I feel like the last one I resonate with so much myself. I would say that I have very good intuition, and a lot of times because of that, people don't see the issue at the same time as me. When I have to kind of find myself distancing myself from people who are draining my energy, or I feel not necessarily the best around, it might be an unpopular opinion. At the end of the day, you do have to do what's good for yourself. I'm gonna give you guys an example. Basically, for me personally, in my last year of high school, it was the best because I just started using all of these things into my everyday life. I started to surround myself with other people who genuinely uplifted me in everything that I did, even when I was starting my social media, even when I was doing things that could have been cringe or I could have been made fun of, or they never made me feel bad about anything that I was passionate about or wanted to do. They never thought that any big dream of mine was too big and that I wouldn't be able to reach it. So these are the type of people that you want close. Obviously, there's so much self-work that can be done in terms of confidence. We have to know ourselves, we have to learn how to love ourselves, and these things are super hard. But when you surround yourself with other people that genuinely care and love you and reinforce this mentality in you, even when you feel days where you are going to feel unconfident or days where this mindset is harder to keep up with, these are the people that are going to remind you who the fuck you are. Going off that, I feel like this one is probably the most important one. It's hard, but genuinely, to the bottom of my core, if I can tell you one thing, is it is better to have 0 friends than have a bunch of friends who are jealous of you or disrespectful or that you don't connect with. These people are the energy drainers. These people are the ones that you're forcing yourself to be around because you don't know what it's going to look like for you to be alone. You don't want to be alone. But at the end of the day, those people that you're choosing to be around are probably the ones that are going to hurt you the most, because they're the ones that are making you probably feel bad about yourself, feeling excluded, feeling like you don't belong. Those are the people that are messing with your confidence the most. At a certain point, it's very easy to excuse behavior. Oh, that's just the way that person is. That's just how they were raised. At the end of the day, if it's something that's actively making you feel like shit about yourself, like there's so many stories of amongst female friendship being excluded, not being invited to the nights out or the parties or the this or the that. Why would you want to surround yourself with people who don't give a shit about you and don't care if their actions hurt you one bit. Starting from zero is a lot better than having whatever that is. There was a couple years in high school where I genuinely talked to one person. Did I have 500 best friends? No. And I don't feel like that's normal, period. People that are doing all of that and have 500 friends looks like they're the most popular, the most friendly, the most all of this stuff. It's impossible to be friends with everyone. It is impossible to connect with everyone. Your friends are an active reflection of who you are and how you think of yourself. If you're hanging out with people that are literally evil, like why would you even want to be associated with people like that? You want to be around other people that genuinely see you. It's not a competition. It's not a who's this, who's prettier, who's cooler, who's louder. It's just because you guys care about each other. This one's probably going to be my most unpopular one in this video because I don't think anyone's going to follow this. If I would restart my whole life over, I would emphasize this 100 times over. It is to avoid relationships until you know yourself. And I feel like it's often hard to know yourself even at the age of like 45. There's different levels to this. I'm just saying this because as someone who has never been in a relationship, I was the friend who's always observing everyone else and what they had to go through and how that's still affecting them as a 20-year-old. I feel like there's a lot of talk about, oh my god, 17 is like this dramatic year and the heartbreak that happens at this year. Oh my god. At the end of the day, don't restrict yourself. If you care about someone, I'm not going to tell you to push everyone away from you. That is not the point of this video. But I'm just saying, oftentimes there is a lot of pressure to do those things, or you want to feel loved so bad, or you want the love that maybe your friends are experiencing or the people around you are experiencing. So you actively crave that and you actively try to catch whatever that is. But that is probably the worst thing that you can do. These things come naturally, searching for it and longing for it to a point where you genuinely are choosing people that are not good for you, ignoring red flags, choosing people who don't see your worth to a point where you start questioning your worth. Being a teenager is also a period of time where there's so many conflicting thoughts. It is so easy to become insecure. So many changes in life. There's like 5 million things hitting you like a truck at every millisecond. So choosing a partner that can genuinely destroy any good feelings that you feel about yourself. Why would you want to do that? I do get wanting to have these experiences. At almost 20 years old, I still see so many people get into relationships that are so rushed because they're so envious of others who've gotten to experience love that they'll choose anyone in hopes of feeling the same. But that's just not how it works. And I don't think that people really realize until they're in it and until they're out of it how much another person can really affect you and affect how you are in your next relationships and in your friendships. At the end of the day, you just don't want to be shaping your personality in order to keep someone else happy. And then I kind of already mentioned, but the next is just really try to focus on not feeling pressured to just do what everyone else is doing just because they're doing it. I kind of learned how to have negative FOMO. People are going to be trying so many different things. I feel like it's just a part of growing up. There's certain things that people are going to want to do that you might not necessarily feel comfortable with. Again, this also goes who you surround yourself with. Sometimes, I get it, it's self-inflicted pressure. We feel like we should be doing it, but we just don't want to. Listen to your gut, because honestly, doing something that you don't want to do is just going to leave that like gut feeling of regret. The next is popularity is the dumbest shit ever. And I wish I could specifically tell my 13-year-old self this because I don't know what was going on there. I got into high school and I felt like I needed to have all these friends. I felt like I needed to start being so outgoing because I was extremely shy, and I still am shy. I'm literally an introvert. I just started trying to befriend everyone, and that's great, but I feel like I was trying to befriend unintentionally people who were like cool or like popular. I wanted to fit in with these groups. Felt like I wanted that, and popularity was gonna be the thing that made me start liking myself and start liking life. It lasted so short. It was such a short period. I started to realize that it changed nothing. It was so stupid. My personality was just not who I was. There's so much pressure on it because you want to get invited to things. You want to be a part of people because somehow if they accept you, you feel like you accept yourself. I'm telling you, it's a no. No one person is ever going to make you learn how to love yourself. Everyone talks about peaking in high school, and at the end of the day, it's just so true. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy your high school experience. I feel like everyone just knows that type of person that peaks in high school, and it's usually that person who only focused on popularity, who completely was so disrespectful to other people, did not care about anyone else's feelings because they felt like they could get away with everything. Focusing on that is literally going to ruin your teen years. The next is just say yes with moderation. Getting out of your comfort zone is obviously so uncomfortable and no one wants to do that, and oftentimes we're gonna be like, no, it's okay, no, I don't want to do that, because saying yes would mean actually trying something new and discovering maybe that you like or don't like it, and the possibility of not liking it sometimes outweighs liking it. But this can also stop you from having a lot of great experiences. Obviously, a lot of my teen years was spent in high school, so during that period of time I just didn't really go to things. I didn't go to school events. I didn't go to anything where I would be able to make new friends or connect with more people. And then my last year of high school, I told myself, I was like, I'm going to everything. I don't care if it's that, I don't care if it's this or that, whatever. And doing that, I genuinely had the best last year of my life. My mindset completely shifted. I discard all my other years of high school, and that year was genuinely just my favorite and the best. The next thing, I wish I could give more advice on it because honestly, since I'm such an overthinker, drinker. I do still deal with such high levels of embarrassment, but I've gotten over a lot of it. The next is just embarrassment is a choice. So get over it. I feel like everyone has that experience of just there's certain people that have negative embarrassment. Like social anxiety fears them. They go out and they don't care what they do. They're just there to have the best time possible and they don't care if people are watching them. Those are the people that have the most fun in life. It's because they're not constantly thinking about what everyone else thinks of them or whose eyes are on them or what they can and cannot do. Do what you want. Wear what you want. If it's out of the ordinary, like, people can cry about it. At the end of the day, I get that a lot of this is so circumstantial. I'm talking from personal experiences and how it is here, but I know that there's so many different things that come into being a teenager and what it's like. Everyone is dealing with different things. These are all the things that I changed and that completely changed my life personally. And so if I could help literally one person, obviously I would want to make this video. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week.